I am so excited, and many of our audience know that I have the movie coming out, How Thoughts Become Things, and we've got a lot of the same cast members that were in The Secret with the Law of Attraction. And, where that gives you the what and why, how thoughts become things is the action. What do you do for the actions? And I cannot tell you the miracles I have seen in all kinds of situations with people's thoughts. And just a fun story, real quick. I had 8 speaking engagements 2 weeks ago, with live audiences. And so I was driving from Salt Lake to Phoenix, where the engagements were, took my grandson down with me, and got to that first spot of no man's land where there's nobody anywhere near, and my transmission blew up. Well, now, that was pretty much going to ruin the whole week because I didn't know if I was going to get there to speak. And there was a time where my transmission blowing up would have really not been a pleasant experience. And it's still not, but it's not a big deal. And I called AAA, who I love and adore, and I've never had issues with them, but this one time, apparently the person on staff was having a hardship of their own and had the opportunity to take it out on me. And long story, not as long, I ended up in a little tiny town at a Napa Autos part, and I could leave my car and abandon it in a lot that said they would tow it, or I could pay $480 for my free tow and get to an auto shop. What else could go wrong? And then I went to Mexico during that time, and they closed the borders. And then I finally got my car fixed for like $5,000. And then not only did my car not really get fixed, actually my car really did, but not only did I pay $5,000, 2 days later, they're locking down the city so we come home early, and MapQuest kept re-guiding us through no man's land. It's like, no, I go through Vegas so I know their people. Well, I'm telling you all this because it gets funnier. So I just paid $5,000, was out of a car for 2 weeks, didn't get to do any of my speaking engagements because of the house arrest. And I did get out of Mexico, but that was another story. Anyway, we're going home, get rerouted, and finally gave up and went the bad route, or the other route, the positive route. And about 1 a.m, we saw some does and fawns. They were crossing the road. And so I slowed way down. Nobody wants to hit a deer. I mean, they're just so cute. So my grandson and I are going, look how cute they are. And they're walking off, when all of a sudden, great big old Grandpa Buck decided to have a dance with my car, and it is now totaled. Yeah, the one that I just replaced everything in for $5,000. It is 1:30 in the morning. The nearest town is 50 miles away, and I think all 6 people from that town were probably in bed asleep. So what else could go wrong? I mean, what else could go wrong? Now, I realize those things are not nearly as bad as what some people are going through. I'm not making money. I'm almost got trapped in a foreign country. My transmission blew up. I got it paid money when I didn't get to do the work. So, I mean, oh my gosh. And then my car just, the front end was no more. You know what? It really wasn't that bad. And it wasn't that bad because I knew I had to change the way I looked at things. I had to change my thoughts. So I chose, when my transmission blew, to say, cool. Transmission blew, oh well. I called and I got the tow truck. Tow driver, absolutely delightful. They took me to the wrong location. Okay. I will admit I was a little ticked at that point, but I got over it. Tow truck driver was awesome. Took me to another location. Should have charged me more than he did. But he did. That's a miracle that there was actually somebody who would take us. The next miracle is I did get to speak at one event that next morning. And who did I meet at that event but a guy from Friendly Auto? Yeah, there's a plug, because everybody should tell you when somebody does great work. And I met Eric from Friendly Auto. And he just made me feel so loved and so at home and so comfortable. I thought, I got to tow my car in there. So I got my car towed another hour and a half. And with that hour and a half, what happens? I should have paid for that towing, but didn't. I just got some of my towing money back. Yay! That's a miracle. So I get the towing money back. I get it over to Friendly. And do you know, Steve, the owner of that place, not only went through the car, you know, anybody ever dealt with mechanics that you don't know, and you're a woman especially, you know they're ripping you off. Well, no, they're not, but thoughts say, oh, they're ripping me off. I knew they weren't, but I not only knew they weren't because I knew they weren't, I knew they weren't because Steve went through and took photos of everything he thought needed fixed and said how long he thought it would last if I didn't fix it now. And some of them were a while. And he said, fix it, don't fix it. If you decide you want to sell it, I'll help you. And I decided, well, I'm going to go look for a car because at this moment, I don't want to put out $5,000 if I don't have to, at one time in cash. And he said, hey, let me call my buddy. He'll take you car shopping. He'll make sure you don't get taken advantage of, that you get the best deal. They'll give you the best money for your car. And I'm like, okay, what's that going to cost? And he said, oh, no, this guy trains all the sales guys. It'll be good for him to go see what they're doing. He'll go with you for free. Miracle. Some stranger, another stranger helping me. Miracles. And then he called me like 10 minutes later and he says, are you ready to go shopping? And I'm like, this afternoon. And then Steve from the auto shop calls back and says, you know, I've been thinking about what cars you're looking at, and really we can fix this one for less than that. And then you'll have this car for like another 200,000 miles and you know it's a good car. And I went, yeah, but I can get a loan from those guys. Right now, I'm not sure what's going to happen with things. Okay, the fear, but not really. I was just making a decision. I'm not sure what's going to happen. And he went, oh, if you want a loan, I'll figure that out. Don't worry about it. You're a mechanic. You don't do loans. We'll figure it out. Well, he figures it out. He fixes my car. It takes a lot longer than normal because people are quarantined. They're not getting parts out as quickly. But he fixes the car. Absolutely delightful. Sends me pictures all along the way. And here's another fun miracle. I went and got my car Thursday afternoon, and he said, how are you on toilet paper? Well, I only had 2 rolls when I got back to Salt Lake because every time I'd been able to go shopping for it, there wasn't any. And I went, well, I have 2 rolls. And he said, tell you what, I bought extra. Let me give you some. And he brought me out 2 great big packs of toilet paper. I mean, now, you may not see that as a miracle, but for somebody who didn't have any, that was a miracle. Well, we left Saturday. So I have it Thursday night, Saturday morning, we leave. It keeps routing me. My MapQuest has never changed and rerouted me unless I just made one small turn. I'm telling you, it was going north when I was trying to go, west. So how can that be a miracle? Well, because we got within about an hour of the Grand Canyon, and my grandson had never seen the Grand Canyon. So we took that time, went up, and at dusk, he got to see the most beautiful thing he'd ever seen. That's a miracle. And then I set the MapQuest to take me past West Grand Canyon, over the Hoover Dam area, into Henderson, and back on the route I was going. And it's now dark, and I don't realize I'm not going that direction until I see that we're at East Grand Canyon, heading toward north. And then they get me on whatever road it is, 89A. It is not an interstate if they say it is. It is not a U.S. service road if they say it is. And so we're taking that. We passed 2 or 3 cars in a couple of hours. And we hit the deer. What's the miracle there? Well, there are several that happen after that. The first miracle is there was not phone service a half a mile before us or a half a mile after us. We know because we tried to find it there. But guess what? Right where we are, or were, there was phone service. That is a miracle. Trust me, that was an area in life you didn't want to be, out in the middle of the dark where it was cold and pitch black. And miracle, I was able to call AAA, which was a great experience, by the way. So I called AAA. I have phone service. 2.5 hours later, yes, it took that long. They came. In the 2.5 hours, we saw 4 cars. But my grandson and I got to have some fun and to play and look at the bright side of the situation and some of the cool things we're having the opportunity to do. They tow us, and he'll take us 100 miles. I paid an extra money for the extra 10 miles. And oh, now picture this. He would not go 110 miles in 10 feet to the gas station. So he dropped us in a La Quinta parking lot, hotel parking lot. And I'm thinking, really? You won't even go across the street, and it's 5:30 in the morning now. It's freaking cold. But wow, how awesome. We are in a La Quinta parking lot. We're going to have to walk a few feet to get inside the hotel where it's warm. So we got in there. The hotel gave us 2 nights for the night one, and we were able to stay until my son came and picked us up. They totaled the car because it was going to cost $217 more to fix it than it was worth. You know what? That's awesome. Because as they totaled the car, all of these programs came out where you can get 0 interest, 4 months deferred, long-term loans. I got myself a new Infinity. Yay! And it's not costing me an arm and a leg or a tail or a head or an ear or anything else. So I have more miracles than I had things that people would have called disasters. I had a great tow truck driver. I had met a new friend that I could trust. I met another new friend that I could trust. I got not only out of Mexico, but I had to go back in and get out again. People before us and after us were getting all kinds of grief. We went just right through. And my car got back, was perfect. They actually, when they totaled my car, even though they didn't take into account all I'd put into it to fix it, they put into account of what they put into it when they totaled it and gave me a payout on it, which helped me with not only what I paid for getting it repaired, but to go toward the down payment. Better yet, I got all that extra time one-on-one with my grandson. More miracles than not. Now I'm sharing all those miracles with you and this story that was too long and kind of, but the fact is, and I want you to know this, had I looked at it with the thought of, oh my gosh, what else can go wrong? I would not have seen all those miracles, and I would be panicked. I would be hysterical. Today, a week so later, I would be, oh my gosh, what else is going to go wrong? What else is going wrong? Where I'm like, you have challenges. I had a fun adventure over and over again. Wouldn't want to repeat them, but I learned a lot from them, met a lot of great people, got a lot of great help. You look for those miracles, you are going to find those miracles because they're happening all around us. If you look for what else is going to go wrong and how is it going to damage me, you're going to find more of what's going wrong and what's going to damage you. I'm going to tell you, the best thing you can do right now is to open up your heart to serving others. Take time. When you get really scared, I know people have lost their jobs. I know they were losing loved ones. I know that's happening, and I don't want to downplay any of that with my silly story about cars. But when you're getting most concerned and frightened, sit down and write a letter to somebody you love that you haven't maybe talked to for a while, or maybe somebody you talk to all the time. But physically handwrite a letter and list out things you remember about them over the years that you love. 1, it will take you back to a place of good and times that we're happy. 2, it gives you something to do that you know is going to benefit. 3, it gives somebody the opportunity to get physical mail, and then they get to read it and remember all the happiness that they brought to others and good times themselves. And now it's gone full circle. You've helped yourself and you've helped other people. I encourage you, my challenge is for you to write at least 10 love letters to friends and family this week. And I promise you, if you change your thoughts to what is good in life, what you remember that was great, and what you look forward to doing, it won't make the bad things go away necessarily, but will put them in a position where you'll know them and you'll be able to appreciate them. And it will put you in a place where you'll be open to seeing all the good. And when you can see the good, you gravitate toward it, and it gravitates towards you, and you don't dismiss it and miss it. often the good things don't happen because we're so focused on the bad that we miss the good and we dismiss the good. And I don't want that to happen for you. So remember, even when life's rough, good things happen. And life is not about weathering the storm. Life is about learning how to dance in the rain. Put on your dancing shoes. Thank you so much for letting me be with you today. If there's anything I can do to be of service to you, please reach out. You've got all my information there with Don and Bill, or Bill, yeah, Bill too, Don and Jim, and Bill and Preston and Sonia and Tamara, and you've got all my information. I love you. I know life is going to be great, as my mom would say. It'll all be all right in the end. And if it's not the end, or if it's not, boy, I'm not talking right. It'll all be all right in the end. If it's not all right, then it's not the end. Thanks so much. Mwah. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week and a phenomenal life.